Good evening, everybody, once again. And I'm going to talk in the next couple of 15 minutes about the convalescent plasma therapy, which has been given to me because I started this therapy in the state of Kerala. I'm coming from the Kerala, which is the southern, it's a state in the southern part of India, and it's called as God's own country because it has abundant of natural beauty. But of late, there's a panic among all the people, and this nature has been overtaken by the onslaught of coronavirus. And this is the first state in India which has reported the first case back on 30th of January. So there might be some repetition of the talk because as I heard from Dr. Subhash and Dr. Prashant, so that I'll try to overcome all those repetition, not try to go much into details. So the first case, as we all know, was identified in the Wuhan province of China in December 2019. Suddenly there was caused by identified as severe respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. And from then, it has been spread across the globe, and it has now become a worldwide pandemic. If you see the global scenario, as on 18th of May 2020, there's around more than 4.8 million people are affected with the COVID-19. And while the mortality has been reported in more than 317,000 people, then the recovered, though there's a recovery cases around reported to be more than 1.8 million. Under this situation, what can be the possibility of the treatment of COVID-19? Just now, my previous speaker, Dr. Prashant, has given a very brief information about the treatment modal protocols which they are carrying out, and these are also being carried out in various parts of the globe. But still, as he has also mentioned in his talk, that all the modalities are not accepted because besides this, there's no approved vaccine available. There's no specific antiviral therapies there to treat COVID-19. And for that, the type of management which we can, which is involved nowadays, is the isolation of the patient, which is in the quarantine. We have to go for symptomatic treatment, the supportive care in the form of the supplemental oxygen and mechanical ventilation, and experimental measures like antiviral drugs, antiretroviral drugs, antibiotics, hydroxychloroquine, and convalescent plasma therapy. These all have been mentioned by Dr. Prashant in very nice and superlative way. So now my talk will be concerned only on the convalescent plasma therapy. So what is this convalescent plasma therapy? Why there's so much of talk going on across the globe that there's what is convalescent plasma therapy and how it can be effective in treating this COVID-19 patient? So it is not a new concept, convalescent plasma. For the last many decades, a trial has been done with this convalescent plasma in many diseases like MERS, SARS, chikungunya, Ebola, some with very good results and some with limited results. So the rationale for this particular treatment that a patient who have that infection, he develops antibodies to that particular infection, and that antibodies will be taken, will withdrawn from the patient plasma, who is now recovered, and this can be used as for the passively infused into a patient who is already now infected, and thereby it can cause a passive immunization on the patient. There are some studies are available from China, from other countries also, where this convalescent plasma has been attempted in a very selected number of cases and with very encouraging results. This one study which has been done in China, where there's a series of only 4 patients, and including one pregnant woman also there, and they had received this plasma therapy, and all of them recovered eventually. There's another very big study of the 10 affected patient, severely affected patient. This was a study from China. They also found that with the transfusion of 200 ml of this convalescent plasma, that the patient recovered within 3 days, and there is a total disappearance of viremia within 7 days. So this was a really challenging, and this has brought some sort of ray of hope among the medical fraternity to start and see that how this can be used as a treatment modality. If you see the Indian scenario, as of today, the reported case of COVID-19 in India has crossed the 100,000 mark, and more than 3,000 patients has died due to this disease, and there's now more than 57,000 are now active cases of there, and we have 39,000 plus cases who have recovered from this patient. Now our target is 39,000 patients who have recovered from the COVID-19. They can be a subject for the convalescent plasma donation. So when we go for the convalescent plasma therapy, there are two stages. First stage is the recruitment of the plasma donor. Who are the person who can be considered for the donation of this plasma? And second part is where the identification of the COVID-19 patient and who can be eligible to receive this convalescent plasma therapy. So these are in two phases. So we have to see that how we recruit the right person, become a plasma donor, and we give the right patient the plasma therapy. So the entire thing started from the recruitment of the donor, of a COVID-19 patient who is on the way to recovery. So at the time of the discharge, there should be some person assigned to motivate the donor, who is patient, I would rather say, that his plasma is now contain the antibodies to this COVID-19, and he may become a plasma donor, so which can be very much be helpful in treating the patients who are suffering now from COVID-19. So though we have known that we have now more than 35,000 cases of recovered COVID-19 patients, but all of them are not eligible to donate. There are certain restrictions are there which we have to follow as per the Drug and Cosmetic Act of India, which is a regulatory authority in compared to the US FDA. So, if it is a donor, the donor must be more than 18 years of age. So any children who have suffered from COVID-19 and recovered, we cannot take them as the plasma donor. Then the male or the nulliparous female who weigh more than 55 kg should be a subject. So anybody less than that cannot be a subject for a plasma donor. So prior diagnosis of COVID-19 should be there, and there should be a complete resolution of the symptoms at least 28 days prior to the collection of the plasma. So, or if you want to take 14 days before that, then at least 2 consecutive nasopharyngeal swab tests should come as negative for COVID-19. Then only these people will be eligible to come forward for plasma donation. So how we can screen these eligible donor? Even they have recovered from the COVID-19, but still we should maintain all the PPE measures while examining the donor. And donor not fit for donation and will be deferred and excluding from this donor pool. And any donors who had received any transfusion in the last 8 weeks also should be deferred from donating plasma. Like the normal healthy voluntary blood donor, this who comes to the blood center only once and they get tested and they get screened and they donate the blood or plasma. It is different in this case. They have to make 2 visits. This is totally different. The first visit is for going for certain pre-donation test, which is highly recommended, and every donor has to pass through these tests. And second visit, he has to come to the blood center for collection of the blood convalescent plasma or through the plasmapheresis. So in the first visit, when the donor comes to the lab, his blood sample is withdrawn and the stipulated testing has been done like the normal donors which would go through it, like the ABO grouping, RH typing, antibody screening, then the screening for the TTI transfusion transmitted infectious markers like HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and the syphilis and the malaria. And if they are found to be negative for all these markers, they are eligible. But besides that, we have to do a complete blood count, including the hemoglobin, hematocrit, platelet count, then the liver function test to see the protein levels, because these tests are not being done routinely in the normal healthy donors. But we have to carry it out, as Dr. Saxena has highlighted in his talk, that they have some changes in the coagulation profile as well as in the liver and the other multiple organ involvement. So those things should be within the normal ranges while we select the donor. Besides that, we have to see the presence of the IgG and IgM antibodies to the COVID-19 and the neutralizing antibodies, because these neutralizing antibodies are very important for the beneficial effect of the convalescent plasma therapy. There should be a titration of the anti-COVID-19 antibodies, and desired titer is considered to be 1:1024, and for IgG antibodies and neutralizing antibodies is 1:40. But this test is not available in many of the centers in India. So what is the other alternative? How we can ensure that this high titer we can achieve from a donor? So the easiest way is that don't take the blood from the asymptomatic donor, asymptomatic patient, or the mild patient who has recovered, because their titer may be very low. Those patients who had a serious disease and they have recovered from the, ultimately recovered from the disease, they might have a high neutralizing antibody titer. So those patients should be our target. And if it is not possible also, then also attempt can be made. We can collect the sample, we can store it for a time, and then whenever the facilities are available, we can conduct this test. But my main information to all the people is that try to select the donor in a very rational way, so that we see that this particular donor might be having a high titer of neutralizing antibody as well as the IgE antibody to COVID-19. So the second visit, this is the first visit where the tests have been done, carried out, they found to be okay, and they have been selected. Now they have been asked to come on a particular day to donate their convalescent plasma, as in the form of the plasmapheresis. Usually we should not go for the whole blood donation. Though the whole blood, if you donate, and we can separate the plasma, but what happens here, the red cell has to be discarded, because this particular donor doesn't qualify as a normal healthy donor. We have to remember this thing. So the best alternative is to collect the plasma only by the method of plasmapheresis. It has an added advantage, is that you can collect a volume which can be divided into aliquots and can be treated for more than 2 or 3 patients also at a time. So with one donor plasma, 2 or 3 patients can be benefited. So the volume of the plasma, it depends upon from center to center, but it should not exceed 1000 ml in a per sitting. And whenever we are doing the extracorporeal volume, should never exceed 15% of the total blood volume. So the care has to be taken that these are being followed. And once the plasma is being collected, they can be frozen at -40 or below, and you can store it for 12 months. There are certain now questions that many states now they have less number of patient and less number of recovered patient also, or there are certain cases where there is high number of patient and they don't have the requisite donor. So whether this particular plasma which is collected from one state can be transferred to the another state through proper cold chain transportation. So those things has to be exploited and has to be encouraged. So as per all the studies have been done, they found that one dose of 200 ml of convalescent plasma is sufficient enough to treat a patient. But sometimes in the most very severe cases or life-threatening diseases, we may be requiring a second dose of 200 ml of plasma, and this has to be seen by monitoring the patient from day 1 to day 28, how the patients are responding. So that part which I have just told is a part of the collection of the plasma. Now, what you are going to do with this plasma? Whom we are going to transfuse to this plasma? Which patients are eligible to get this plasma therapy? So we have to determine the eligibility of the patient for this CP therapy. So the patients, we almost should have a confirmed laboratory diagnosis of COVID-19, and we must ensure that instead of giving the CP therapy to the asymptomatic or milder cases, we must try to transfuse this patient plasma to those patients who are severely affected or those who have life-threatening diseases, as explained by Dr. Prashant. So then this will be much more in a better way we can manage the patient who are having active disease. But the foremost important thing is that we have to take a informed consent from the patient, or if not possible, to the next of the kin. So certain investigation and follow-up has to be done to see the efficacy of the convalescent plasma therapy. So this enrolled patient will undergo examination and certain investigation pre-transfusion as well as post-transfusion. The post-transfusion follow-up should be done on day 1, day 3, day 7, 14 and 28 till he is totally resolved from the disease. So how we do the monitoring? So the patient has to be monitored before the transfusion, plasma transfusion, for the signs and symptoms, whether he's having fever, cough, shortness of breath, the presence of any comorbidities, as already explained by Dr. Prashant. The vitals have to be monitored, and whether the patient is receiving any medications as given by the list by Dr. Prashant, or whether anti-inflammatory drugs, any antibiotics, hydroxychloroquine, any antiviral drugs, or anti-HIV drugs. So those things have to be seen, and accordingly we have to categorize. So these are the investigation which we have to do while we are doing the monitoring the outcome of the convalescent plasma therapy. It starts from day 1 and it goes up to day 28, where we have to do the complete blood count, the CMP, the LFT, the C-reactive protein. Then we have to do the arterial blood gas analysis, the coagulation profile. Those he has already explained that there are maybe some coagulation abnormalities will be there. So we have to do the coagulation profile of the patient. Biomarkers like ferritin, D-dimer, LDH. Then the interleukins. Interleukins 6 and 11, since there is a storm of cytokines, so we have to ensure that whether they are coming down. So it is usually done in day 3 and the other day 1, and it is not done to be regularly. Then we have to do the SARS RT-PCR to whether the viremia is coming down, okay, and whether the patient has been free from the viremia. And of course, the imaging has to be done of chest X-ray to see if there's any significant changes in the lung field is being observed. So what is the current status of convalescent plasma therapy? I'm from the state of Kerala, and we are the first state, because the first case has been reported from Kerala, and the ICMR, we got the nod from ICMR to explore plasma therapy on April 9th to 2020. And from after that, we started gearing up all the logistics to see that how this thing can be started. So now ICMR has come into the picture, and they have initiated a multi-center clinical trial, phase 3 open level randomized controlled trial to assess the safety and efficacy of the convalescent plasma. So as of 11th May, they have given approval to 76 centers across the country for conducting this classic trial. So this is how we can go to the online and we can register ourselves with ICMR for starting the trial. And we can, in this way, and we can go for the approval. Once we go, put on the online this thing, we can get an approval from the ICMR, and DCGS approval should be also be in there. One of the most important approval is from the Institutional Ethics Committee. That no trial should go without a ethical clearance from the institute where you are performing the CP trial. So in Kerala scenario, I am giving the latest on the 18th May, that is yesterday, we have around 631 reported cases of COVID-19, right from the first case which was reported on 30th of January 2020. We have now 631. We have got a very good control over the pandemic, and it was almost controlled. But of late, the last 1 week, there's sudden spurt of the number because of the deportation of the people from the other countries back to India. So this sudden spurt of some cases has been observed, and now we have 130 cases of active cases of COVID. But our now target is 497 people who has recovered, though the mortality is very low in state of Kerala because of the very good healthcare facilities. Now, in this 497, we have approached many recovered patients, and we saw a very good response from the people who are coming forward for plasma donation. But our since now the number has gone up. It was actually 1 week back, it was less than 20 active cases were in Kerala. Now it has jumped to 130. So we have more cases now, and then this CP therapy will become more effective when in starting. So now to conclude, since it is under the clinical trial by ICMR, so the reports are being awaited from all across the country to show their efficacy of this therapy, and it should be submitted to the ICMR at a later date. And I think then it will be open to all the things that how it has taken, how the beneficial role has been observed in those cases of the COVID-19 patient. So along with this present modalities of the therapies which are being attempted in the patient in the form of the various medications, ventilation. So we required a lot of research has to be carried out to see the efficacy of the convalescent plasma therapy. And we have to see that whether it is having a really beneficial role in controlling this disease and bringing a very sea change in the medical management of the patients. And they are all looking forward for it, because getting a plasma from the donor is not a very hard task. It can be achieved, and we are very much optimistic and looking for the coming days that this therapy will become very much fruitful and can save a lot of life. Thank you.